Hi, guys and ladies. Welcome back to another podcast episode. This is episode number 8. My name is Disama Matsietsi, and in this episode number 8, we're going to be talking about what you do in order to start in analysis. We're going to talk about the whole pathway to analysis and what you can do in order to find yourself into the analysis. This is following up after we spoken about this in episode number 6 and episode number 7. If you didn't catch that, don't worry, you can still always go back to them. But in episode number 8, we're just going to talk about a few different options that you can do to kickstart your career in data. All of this after our theme song. Stay tuned. After reading a few comments that was coming through both on LinkedIn and on the YouTube channel, and just people asking me, now, how do I start? How do I get things going? I realize now that in order for you to get into a world of analysis or become an analyst, it's quite different to how we first started. Remember when I wrote in a blog on my website, I said, for us at the time when we started, we were just being pulled in to say, you have some math, you have some skills, you know computers, come over, come help us. And you start doing, and they're like, I like what DSM is giving us, do more graphs, do time series graphs. And then that's how we ended up becoming analysts. We started in operations, we started in sales. Before you know it, we were doing sales analytics. Even though there was a sales analytics team, we ended up, becoming more efficient. Before you know it, we were actually quite proficient in analysis. So in here, I'm going to be sharing different ways that I think a novice person, whether you becoming in university or you coming out wanting to change jobs, any of these things becomes relevant. You can choose to become an analyst in either way. So we have 5 things that we're going to be talking about today. First one is being an analyst through education. So this is where you go to university or you take some course to become an analyst that way. Second one is where you're looking for a job internship or you're looking for a job secondment. So job internship is when you are new to the job environment, so you can get an internship. Job secondment is when you are saying, I'm working in marketing, I want to go over to do marketing analysis, working closer with the data team type of a thing. So the third one is attending master classes. Nowadays, I've read just this morning that LinkedIn and YouTube are actually bridging the gap of education deficiency in countries like Nigeria. Nowadays, a lot of people are creating master classes where analysts like myself, we are sharing how you can actually get going on stuff. So those master classes are actually creating a huge impact because instead of you wandering around, they teach you, they show you ways or path that you can take to start becoming an analyst. The fourth way is using company resources as part of your developmental develop what do you call career development. If you are employed already, you would realize that there's already a portion for you that talks about personal development. And out of that, the company might give you some resources to say, here's some resources that you can do for whatever development. You can go ahead and do all of those things. And the last one is us talking about joining analyst communities. so that in that way you can start bouncing ideas. I know most of these analyst communities become available in the same company that you're working in. They create those type of analysts. So let's start with the first one, where we're talking about doing this through education. So doing this through education, this one is not for everybody, because I don't think that all of us got a neck or got that what it took to go through university. Sometimes it could just be because of the school that you went in. We just need to be honest. Right here in South Africa, there are still other high schools that are deemed much more better than other high schools, as part of the old apartheid way how things worked. And I was one of those from a school that I couldn't get into any university that I want. So even though you might want to go to a university, a well-esteemed university, but you attended a high school that doesn't, is not ranked quite high. So in this case, that's why I say going through education, I understand it's not for everybody. But if you have math and science from a good school, or from a school that you can make yourself into university, you have a better chance of going into an analyst route. So it's just maths and science. You could still have the same maths and science and have even higher marks. If you're coming from a high school that they don't deem quite important, you might still not make the cut. But if you do make the cut, make sure that at least you have some fundamental and very, very strong academic foundation. In that way, then you can go in. Um, the type of courses that you can look for, could be within, statistics, math, economics, even business analysis, can actually help you, give you an overall, foundation of where you can start pursuing your whole analysis career, because not all analysts are the same. I tried to explain in one of the episodes that there are different type of analysts, and I had explored 16 at a time. So you could actually, whatever degree that you take, whether you use econometrics, or it's going to be stats, or it's going to be computer science, it can somehow lead you into an analyst role. But you must have very, very strong math and science background from high school. And this, I remember when my mother was very, very adamant on us to actually pursue taking math and science. At the time, we used to have commercial subject, which was accounting and business economics and all of those. But at home, I think our mother, even though she didn't even finish matric, her education back in apartheid, back in 1950s, she stopped at, I think, what was standard 3 at a time before she went into middle school. And my father stopped at, I think, standard 5 at the time. But he soon later came in and finished up using night school to finish up his matric. But all of that was okay. It's like back in apartheid times in the 50s. But right now, we're expecting to say, oh, for you to become an analyst, if you're going through the education route, you must at least have gone to a reputable university, or you must have gone to a university that is known to produce very, very good analysts. One of this is the university, or what used to be called Potchefstroom University. A lot of people have got this mindset that the curriculum that they're going through there is very, very important, very, very tough, that they are, getting everybody else from Northwest University, while the other universities are still out there, dominating. Another thing that we can do, if you don't find yourself, you have math and science background, and you didn't make the cut into university, don't feel you're let down, because the internet will come to your rescue. Instead of just going into YouTube and LinkedIn, you can actually check out platforms like Coursera, Udemy, and edX. Just yesterday, or just the other day, I was looking at a course from Harvard about computer science and introduction to all of those things while I was preparing for this article and this podcast. And I realized actually they give you access to the knowledge, and you only pay for the certification. And it's something else that, it was never there when I first started. And I think it's a game changer, that the information to being an analyst is no longer a secret. Everybody wants to share that. And if you go to Udemy might want a subscription, same as Coursera might want a subscription. But I know that sometimes they have a 14-day or 1 month free trial. If you can push yourself within that 1 month, you can actually find yourself with the certification for free. Or you can go to edX, and go to MIT, go to Harvard, and then you do the course, you do the exam, and then you only pay for the certification to be shipped from America to the United States of America, to whatever country you are in. Few of the people that I'm connected with on LinkedIn have already received their certifications. So it's something else that you can explore. Very, very good option to go through education, just to show people that you have done this. And over and above that, there are still certifications that have been done by IBM, by Microsoft, by Google. You can still even go through that, even though you still pay like 200 and something dollars. I mean, in South African money, it's a lot of money. And if you don't have those, I would suggest, and you have good internet connection, or you have a reliable place where you can go for internet, I'll still suggest you go to edX, Coursera, LinkedIn, wherever the case is. You get yourself familiarized with the coursework. If you can be diligent on that coursework, by the time that you apply for a certification, now the burden becomes lower. Then you get your certification. The same amount of time that probably would take a person to go through university, you can actually get your certification through Coursera, edX, and some of these providers the same way. All it needs is, when you go to university, at least somebody is keeping you on a schedule. On this side, you need good self-discipline to actually wake up in the morning, block yourself some time, and then you do the work yourself. You can't just let it slide. If you let it slide, then that's where the problem is going to be, because you're going to forget that you're waking up every morning for a reason. Okay, the second one that we're looking at is job internship, or job secondment. And here in South Africa, recently, there's been a lot of programs, which is quite exciting. A lot of programs have come through to help people that didn't go to university to get jobs. One of this is I think they call them the Move Up program, where they take you wherever you are. As long as you have senior certificate, which is metric, you are welcome to join a program. So these Move Up programs have, I think, I had 8 that I've researched, have actually helped a lot of people to get entry level jobs, of which they were only reserved for graduates previously. So an example of this could be the one that we all know, the YES program, Youth Employment Scheme, that actually takes everybody else. They had promised 17,000 unemployed youth in 1 year to be absorbed into the workforce. They didn't meet the target, I know, but it still remains a good platform that you can go into any company, and you ask them for internship programs. Like, where's the Yes? Where's the Alexandra Forbes one? Where's the Raymond Ackerman program? You can ask all of those things, and they can tell you, oh, the program is available. This is how you go through the program. And University of Johannesburg have done a very, very good study that actually tells about the impact of these Move Up programs and what they have done in getting the youth into the job market. That was way above themselves. They needed some qualifications in there. But what they do is, in this job internship, they give you a year, they absorb you, they give you very, very minimal payment just to pay for your transportation to work. And then what you do is, they give you the same company resources that everybody has. Then you can make yourself something of yourself. So that's just looking at the internship. Job secondment, I put it on the same breath, but job secondment is for people that are working and they would want to jump over from whatever they are doing. Maybe this person is a banker and he sits in front of, is a you come, you do your deposit with them. He's a banker. That's it. A teller. I think that's what they used to be called back then. He's a teller, and he wants to, or she wants to, change into analysis. So what you can do is, you can do your work nicely, and one of these times, you can actually meet up with some team that works with, maybe that help you out with the money and whatever, the cash, whatever thing that you have to do. You ask them to say, can I come over and help you guys to create the cash up report some bit of analysis so that you can show me. So that's called job secondment, because your original title that you are being paid for and the title that you've been hired for is a teller. But the work that you are doing on a day to day is an analyst work. So you're not getting paid an analyst salary. You come to the department for free, and your previous manager, where you are a teller, allows you to do that because I mean you're a good person and you've already grown up out of your job, or you've shown interest in another job within the business itself. And if you're doing well wherever you've been seconded in, the secondment manager will talk to your original manager to say, let's give that person an overperforming or whatever the case is. And most people that have been seconded, others don't come back to the original jobs. They actually stay in that place. They just get new roles. So if you're sitting there and you realize you've been applying for your data team or analyst team, and they've been declining you all the time, it can actually take guts for you to just stand up, walk into them and say, can I talk to my manager to get secondment into this department? I really love what you guys are doing, what you ladies are doing. Can I just sit and work with you? And if they say yes, then it becomes an easier conversation to say, I will spend a week with my teller job, and then I'll spend the 3 weeks on the analyst role, and then that's how I'm gonna balance out, my time while I'm here. But secondment rank can actually quite work out quite well for you. Um, Same as the job internship. It has the same elements because you're going into an area where you are not physically employed to be there, but you're going in there as an observer, and based on your sweat equity on how you work, you can actually find yourself being an analyst from either secondment or job internship. The third one that we're looking at is attending master classes. Master classes could start, in any form. And all of this, I think for me, it was a huge revelation for me, especially during the COVID-19 lockdown, when things actually opened up and everybody else was so open to help people that are previously disadvantaged. I think at that time, God or whatever spoke to our hearts, and we all wanted to give back. And a lot of companies opened up their doors, and they allowed most of their people, whether financial experts or hectic analysts, data scientists, you name them, they allowed them to the ability to spend some time creating master classes that are available to anybody. So I found myself enrolling in, I think I went into one or two for MicroStrategy, and I did a few of, went into Quantive, which is about strategy implementation tool. I went into a lot of master classes, and I went and I sat in. They showed us the tool. First, they would start showing you the tool, and then after that, they come over and they show you all the different mindset. McKinsey also has a lot of master classes. If you go into the McKinsey website, you can always register for the upcoming discussion or master classes, and before you know it, you are in the lingo. McKinsey would be for those that are looking to be in economics or financial analysis. If you're interested in one of those things like myself, you can actually go into Gartner, McKinsey, you name them. Whenever they have a master class, you can go in and listen for those master classes. Same as most South African companies are also starting to even post their master classes onto their YouTube pages or into their LinkedIn pages. You can still go back and rewatch. And when you don't understand something, at least you have a question that you can ask into the next master class. But in terms of whatever you want to do, I think the world has changed after the pandemic. It has changed for the better. There is more access now to people than there used to be. Or maybe now I'm identifying that there's more access to people than I used to be. Previously, it used to be you have to go through somebody's secretary or go through whatever, a lot of things, so that you can sit into the meeting. But right now, I think staff has actually given us, access to it. The renowned conferences includes the Analytics Summit, the Strata Data Conference, or Predictive Analytics World. Those are where you can go in and you can interact with people. I know Microsoft also created itself. It's data analytics conference type of a thing. You go in, you learn about the tools. They show you how the tools work. They tell you about what's about to come, and you can actually go into those things, and you can make something very, very good with the master classes. Master classes, for me, as far as I'm concerned, they go hand in hand. If you're already like in secondment or internship, or you are an analyst that just wants to know a different field of analysis. So, for instance, I'm a data analyst, and now I want to go into business intelligence full fledged, and more especially when it comes to visualization tactics. So, going into Tableau master classes or going into Power BI master classes will totally help me upskill myself from just being a person who works as a data analyst or SQL developer to now being a full-fledged Power BI person working with data and visualizing the data itself. So master classes, for me, it's a huge thumbs up. I've done it a couple of times, and I would suggest anybody else to do it. Okay. The fourth one that we're looking at is using company resources for your development area. The company that I worked for, I think we had a lot of licenses. All you have to do is just to go to your learning and development personnel or manager, ask them about the licenses that are there. They normally throw the question back at you. They ask you first because their target is to give the right people the right license. So they're going to ask you the one question to say, what course do you want to do? So if you already know the course that you want to do and who's providing the course, all you're doing is to say, I want to go to Coursera. I want this course. Do you have a license for it? And then they'll tell you to say, no, we only had 150 licenses. I'm waiting for, there's a person who's resigning. I'll take their license and give it to you. And in that way, you'll be okay. But most companies have got all of this relationship that they're doing. And it's quite nice for them because they claim it back as part of their skills development levy that they're paying. Whatever they pay in your training and development, they claim it back from whatever they are paying towards the government for training and development, and they get good credits out of that. So don't feel ashamed that you, even if you speak to your manager afterwards to say, listen, I've already enrolled in some other course, I'm going to be doing it over the weekend, whatever you want to do. Don't feel ashamed. The company is getting credits, and they actually want people that actually do that on your side. Unfortunately, this is not available for somebody else who hasn't started at all. But if you are in university, this is also available to you because most universities are in partnership with places like this where you can go in and then get additional training. This helps out if whatever course that you are doing is quite complex, and you're going into Coursera, or you're going into LinkedIn, or you're going into edX, can actually enhance your understanding. And nice part about educational like universities, if you go into edX, you get a full-fledged edX that you can get a certificate from. So it actually quite helps to go to university because you really get full-on access to everything else that you want. Not just paying your Apple subscription at a discount, or getting your bus tickets at a discount, or flight tickets at a discount. Even getting additional training also quite helps you quite a lot. So you have to reconsider. If you didn't want to reconsider, will I go into university? And I would say it's the best thing. The last one that we're going to be talking about is joining analyst communities. There's a lot of communities that are out there. One of them is the being an analyst that I'm championing for a lot of novice or people that want to swap careers into analysis. There's a lot that are going on right now. You can find them in platforms like LinkedIn. You can find them on Reddit, and yeah, we can find them on GitHub. And also, like Microsoft, also got its different communities that you can join in. I know a lot of gamers has got Xbox communities, But in this case, we're talking about the ones that can actually help you become a better analyst. So in that way, you can go in and find a community that dedicated to either data analysis, or the one that dedicated to whatever financial analysis or marketing, whatever the analysis that you want, where professionals share their experiences and they discuss emerging trends, and also they offer advice. So once you find that community, please, you're gonna be quite happy. You're gonna, push and become even much better, because you're gonna be talking to people that are thinking outside of, or your comfort zone or your existing environment. So just in closing, being an analyst currently, I mean, when I'm making this recording is 2023, it's way better according to me compared to when I first approached people in 2009 trying to become an analyst. You can just imagine it's been almost 2 decades later, and the world has changed a little bit. And if I were to start again being an analyst or going into analysis, I think I would do it much more differently, because I have a lot of tools. But as far as I'm concerned, this 5 ways is the best ways that I would think that you can play around with them. You push yourself, even if you put your services out there in places like Fiverr. Once you once a mid-sized company asks for your services, you can actually say, hang on a second, can I come in on a weekly basis just to understand your business? Even if I don't have any task that you're asking me, I just want to evaluate and look at your business. Before you know it, they're like, oh, since you are here, what do you do? Like, no, I helped you guys to do that nice Power BI visual. I'm just coming to see what else do you guys do around here. It was quite exciting when I look at the data. Before you know it, they're asking you for more information and they're sending you to ask for a one visual that is unpaid. Before you know it, you have a full-time contract with them to say, no, can you come all the time? So I would say for you, if you have a nice, you're a person who likes to see themselves playing with data, you can think about any of these 5, considering various options for you. You can pick one of them, whether you want to do it via education, you want to do it via seeking an internship or secondment, or attending master classes, or yeah, way of utilizing company resources, or even joining various data analyst or analyst communities. The option, it's all up to you. But the nice part about it is we have all these options. You can reach out to anybody, including myself, to say, help me out. Here's my CV. How do I go about using this? And from me, I can read the CV the way that I'm seeing your CV. I can say, oh, it looks like maybe you don't have enough experience here. Register this, do that way. It looks like you need more of this, do it this way. And then probably from there we can add some value. So thank you a lot for listening to this whole episode. I'm going to be talking about episode number 8. On episode number 8, we're talking about some frustration that happens when you realize that your data it's got different types, and it's frustrating that you are trying to measure or do an analysis on data types that don't go together, and therefore your analysis are not working out. On episode number 8, we'll be discussing and exploring 4 or 5 different data types, and then so that you can know immediately when you do your analysis, when you see one data type, you can know that this data type doesn't go with this one, but we can show this one maybe on legend or in the column or whatever the case that you want to do. This way, I'm assuming you're already done with your secondment, with your education, now you are starting with the real analyst, and you're just frustrated of why is it not happening. Thanks a lot, guys. Just stay tuned for the next episode.